represents the state's 4th district. We want to talk a little bit about what Stephanie was just reporting. We're watching this gubernatorial race. The Democrat, Beto O'Rourke, looking to oust incumbent Republican Governor Greg Abbott for the second time. He didn't succeed the first time around. Both will be situated along the southern border on election night. But if Beto O'Rourke were to possibly unseat Abbott, how would that shake up the handling of the historic migration across the border? Again, I'm not asking you if you think he will. I'm just saying, if a Democrat were in power in Texas, what would happen for Texans along that southern border and for all America, really?
Well, I think that, and Adrienne, thanks for having me on. I think that would become an even more dire situation, quite frankly. You're seeing a shift from folks that traditionally voted for the Democrats to the Republican Party. And it's a dramatic shift. It's a seismic shift, in fact, because the folks along the southern border are sick of the cartels, the crime, the corruption, and the chaos. And I think Beto O'Rourke would just add to that, because we already have a de facto open border because Joe Biden refuses to secure it. And the drug cartels, the Mexican drug cartels, are really controlling our southern border. As sad as the fact that is, it is the reality on the ground. So I do believe, though, that Governor Abbott will win. And I'll give you a hot take right now, by exactly 11%.
We've seen busing of migrants, of course, from Texas to New York City to Martha's Vineyard. There are people shipping them from Florida to another area. This move by Governor Greg Abbott with the busing, is that striking a chord with voters?
I think it really is, because obviously when you're talking about 10, 15, 20,000 folks, it's more symbolic than anything else, because it's exposing the left's hypocrisy. We don't have it. We are already a debtor nation. We don't have the resources to balance our own budgets. And yet we're allowing mass unlawful migration for folks to come across this border. There's 160 countries now represented by folks that have crossed the southern border. Wow. We want an orderly border. We want legal migration. Most of us are descendants of immigrants. And the way in which to do that is to allow the 3.8 million people that are waiting in line, respecting the laws and the rules of the country that they want to become a part of, to be prioritized and not pushed back and waiting even longer when you have, I think it was 4.7 million illegal border crossings under Joe Biden's watch, when you include the encounters plus the known gotaways.
Yeah, it's a staggering number. And now, more than ever, including those that bus to Vice President Kamala Harris's home in Washington, D.C., we're seeing that this is a countrywide issue, not just a state issue for Texas. The GOP is hoping 3 conservative Texas Latinas, known as the Triple Threat, will convert border districts from blue to red. This has never happened before and would be a first in election history. But are there presumptions, or is this based on a lot of historic polling, that these communities always vote Democrat when there are a lot of Hispanic Republican voters?
Sure, but you have like a district like Congressional District 34 with Republican Mayra Flores, my good friend and a great and outstanding member, that hasn't gone to, there hasn't been a Republican in that seat since Reconstruction in that area. And so Mayra now holds the seat she won in a special election. Now get this, Adrienne, if that seat had existed like it does right now after redistricting, if it existed in 2020, the Democrat would have won that seat. Joe Biden would have won that seat by 18%. But Mayra is leading in the polls, and she's going to win tonight. And that is, again, one of those seismic shifts we're seeing. In Congressional District 15, we have Monica De La Cruz, another wonderful candidate. She's going to win. In fact, I would predict Monica was going to win by 8 to 10%. And then we have Cassie Garcia against Henry Cuellar. Now, Henry admittedly is a moderate to conservative Democrat, but Cassie has, I think, a 50-50 chance of actually winning that seat, which would mean that because we already have Tony Gonzalez and he's not really in a competitive race, that every border district in Texas, except for El Paso, would be held by Republicans. And that's really just startling.
It is. There are a lot of things changing and happening, and this election is unprecedented, as we've been saying. Representative Fallon, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Adrienne. God bless.
Thank you. Still ahead, we are heading to North Carolina, talking with voters on how they feel about the high cost of